This footage was shot on a lens that was made in a Soviet factory over 50 years ago. Before the Berlin Wall came down, before probably your parents were born, this lens was made. And yet it remains one of the most popular lenses to be used in cinematography today. And after you finish watching this video, you're probably going to want to buy this lens for yourself. And luckily for you, you can get this lens for $47. Why is this lens so cheap? Why is it made in the Soviet Union? Why is it special? Today I'm gonna tell you everything. Just keep watching. The Helios 44 was made in the Soviet Union, starting in 1958 up until 1999. This lens was manufactured in 3 factories and it was made in millions of examples. Why is this lens so popular then? Now, the defining characteristic and why most cinematographers even care about this lens is its optical flaw. It has this swirly bokeh where basically the outsides of the image swirl inwards and really draws your attention to your subject that is in the center of the frame. Now, this effect is most prevalent when you shoot wide open. Although you do lose a lot of contrast in the lens, thanks to modern software we can fix that, and then we still have this wonderful swirly bokeh around us. The swirly bokeh happens because of the field curvature in the optics, a technical imperfection that at the right aperture and subject distance, and that in its turn creates something that looks completely intentional. It looks organic, it looks, sorry to say the word, but it looks cinematic. The Helios 44 is based on a Zeiss Biotar. Now, the Biotar in and of itself is a legendary lens. And the fact of the matter that the Soviets got a hold of this lens patent and this design is really quite simple. After the Second World War had ended, both the Soviets and the Allies were rushing to grab as much land and as much information, as much IP as they could from Germany. The Zeiss plant that was making optical glass for the Nazis was based in Eastern Germany, which means that the Soviets got a hold of it. They could take the drawings, they could take the machines, and they could copy this lens. So in 1958 they started manufacturing this lens. Now, unfortunately, or I suppose fortunately for us, the Helios lenses wasn't quite up to snuff optically compared to what Zeiss was making. That means we had a lot of flaw in the lens design that actually stuck around up until the 90s. With that said, the history of the lens is not really what makes it interesting. Rather, it is the optical formula. You see, while most of our modern lenses are perfect lenses, they render the world as we see it. They are sharp, they're clinical, they're neutral. That's not what many of us cinematographers want. We don't want sharp, clinical, neutral. We want the dreamy look. We want the swirly bokeh. We want our image to be unique. We want our image to stick out. I don't want perfect footage taken with a super sharp lens, with a Sony, where everything is exactly as it was in real life. Because that is not how I imagined it. I imagined it to be a lot more grand. I wanted it to be a memory rather than a recording. Because a memory with its flaws kind of becomes art in and of itself. Optical engineers spent decades trying to fix this problem. Yet here we are trying to replicate it. Make that make sense. Because production spanned over so many years and over 3 different factories, enthusiasts have a lot of opinions about what lens really is the best one. You have multi-coated lenses, you have single-coated lenses, you have lenses with a better spherical design, with worse spherical design that gives you more of the swirly bokeh. But getting into that is kind of overkill for this video. The point of the matter is that it's an imperfect lens, and that's really what makes it into a perfect lens. If you need proof that these lenses have earned their reputation, Iron Glass in Ukraine will professionally rehouse one for you. And the demand is enormous. The world's most manufactured lens, still worth putting in a cinema housing. Thanks to Film of the Endlingen and Lumenmorsk in Sweden, I've got 3 versions to compare. I've got a single-coated version, the multi-coated, and a rehoused Iron Glass build. The lenses look almost identical on the outside, and the footage isn't far off either. The multi-coated runs a bit cooler, and the other 2 a little bit warmer. But the more important point is that all 3 produce an image that still holds up to real scrutiny. Decades later, this glass is still earning it. If I may gaggle on a little bit more, something we've seen with the recent uptick in AI is that the AI songs, AI video, AI whatever, it's perfect in quotation marks, which means, in my opinion, there's no art left in it. Art is imperfect. Art has imperfections. The imperfections is what makes art art. So having a lens that is not perfect is artistic in and of itself. And that is why I love the Helios 44 so much. Alright, so you've been watching me for 70% of the video now, just talking about how fucking great this lens is. And you went on eBay and you bought yourself your own lens for not even $50. How do you get it onto your lens? Well, most of these lenses, they use a M42 screw thread on. It's an old standard format where you literally just screw the lens onto the camera. But luckily for us, there are adapters available for every modern body. You can get it for EFC, RF, Sony E, Nikon Z. You can get it for all of the mounts that exist, and the adapters are usually $10 to $15. And you can also 3D print your own adapters. Because I'm a cheap bastard, that's what I've done. It works great. And a small side note, you may have to adjust the infinity on these lenses. Oftentimes not, because there's a lot of play in between, so you can actually go past infinity for most lenses. But for example, I did have to open it up and actually adjust the infinity. And luckily it's really easy to do. You just remove this front ring, there's 3 screws behind it, you slacken them off and then you can adjust your focus. Thank you so much for letting me rave about this amazing lens for maybe longer than you should have. If you bought this lens because of this video, then please do let me know in the comments. I would love to know if I managed to convert anyone onto the Soviet side. If you liked the video, then leave a like. If you want to see more of what I do, then subscribe. If you want a kiss, then